to another episode of what I think is going to be called the solo excursion podcast that I do. It's going to be called Goblin Grenade. This is Dahmer from Zero Trade and Value Productions on a Magic the Gathering solo podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about the ban and restricted announcement that Wizards Esports announced shortly after the real ban and restricted announcement, which I think was on October 7th. The announcement was basically saying that they are going to be moving up the ban and restricted announcement from November 21st to October 18th. This is weird because Wizards really never moves updates, and if they want to ban something immediately, they just do something called an emergency ban. They've done it before. Felidar Guardian being banned in Kaladesh. I think Smuggler's Copter, actually they waited for the ban and restricted announcement to announce that ban in Standard. Why would they move this up 3 or 4 weeks depending on, the day they announced it? It's simple. It's Field of the Dead getting banned. You look at Standard right now, and especially in Arena, I've come across 2, maybe 3 deck archetypes. Jeskai Fires, something I call, and I'm probably missaying it, Esper with Dance of the Manse, basically board wipes, counter spells, eggs, the golden eggs, all these weird artifacts that do minimalistic stuff, and then just, 15 turns into the game, bust out this big ass Dance of the Manse, sacrifice all your eggs again to gain all that life that I've already taken away from you back, and then repeat the process. Those games go for way too fucking long. But then there's Golos Field of the Dead. Basically, Field of the Dead is a problem. And it's been a problem since it came out. And honest truth, I think Wizards really messed up releasing this card and not giving any way to interact with it in the next set after rotation in Throne of Eldraine. Because when Throne of Eldraine came out, we lost Field of Ruin. Now, Field of Ruin was one of the only real ways to deal with this card in a logical manner, and not being able, where every deck can deal with it. There was some counter to it. Now, some people will argue, well, yeah, mono red aggro kills Golos dead. Just go under them, or control a little more mid-rangey, or, Unmoored Ego. Okay, Assassin's Trophy. Okay, 3 colors can somewhat deal with Field of the Dead. Red and white are fucked. And there's no real smart way to get rid of that card. And the other topic that I bring up, and the other point I bring up with Field of the Dead, and it's been brought up before, how many board wipes can a deck play? I can play nothing but board wipes, and all my opponent who's playing Golos Field has to do is play a land. And they've gotten 3 or sometimes even 4 2/2 zombies back. And if they play a Fable Passage, well, they've gotten 6 to 8 zombies back. And they did absolutely nothing except for play a land. And I think Tail's End is the only card that can almost stop that activated ability. There's no way to stop that from happening. You're not playing a spell, you're just playing a land, and boom, you have 6 to 8 zombies on the field. And you can even float it in a way that Fable Passage you play on your turn, pass turn, wait for your opponent to use a board wipe, and then at the end of your turn, sack your Fable Passage, get a basic land, and you have 3 to 4 more zombies coming into play. It's a big problem. Jeskai Fires isn't as bad as the other 2 I mentioned. It's actually, I think, one of the more fun control decks that I've gone up against. It's really good plays, and right now I'm playing red-blue draw, so basically Ironcrag Pyromancer, and just every time I draw my second card with Improbable Alliance, I'm getting a 1/1 fairy flying token, dealing 3 damage to any target. So I've been able to almost beat Golos Field of the Dead decks with this, because if it gets running really good, because Golos Field of the Dead does absolutely nothing for a bunch of turns. I can steal a win or 2 from a Golos deck. I can also steal a win or 2 from a Jeskai Fires deck as well. But they're fun games, and at least Jeskai Fires has some interactivity and things that you can use to stop. Whereas Field of the Dead, you can't. Once Field gets active, there's no real smart land destruction in the current set right now, or even in Standard. So it's a bit of a problem. And so I think when it comes to this upcoming ban and restricted announcement, because they're not touching Vintage or Legacy, because Eternal Weekend is coming right around the corner, I think in Standard, Golos gets banned. I'm about 70% on the fence that it gets banned. Field of the Dead, 100% ban. You put a gun to the back of my head, tell me, put all my fucking money that I have, which is not a lot, and I'm going to say, yeah, Field of the Dead is getting banned. My two outliers will be, in Standard, possibly Fires of Invention. It's a long shot. That's me throwing shit at a wall just to make really crazy predictions. And also Dance of the Manse, because the Esper control decks were at least decent and played some creatures, but now with Dance of the Manse, you don't play any creatures for the most part, unless some builds are running Agent of Treachery. That's another card that was mentioned that can stop Field of the Dead. Okay. Still doesn't help red or white, and that's the problem with Field. I know I trail off a little bit, but realistically speaking, there isn't many good ways to deal with Field of the Dead in current Standard. When it comes to Dance of the Manse, that is a card built perfectly for an Esper deck. It slides right in, but it's an Esper do-nothing deck. Not as bad as Teferi Nexus of Fate decks do nothing, but basically you just do a whole lot of nothing until you fill your graveyard up with artifacts and then cast a big-ass Dance of the Manse. A bunch of 4/4 artifact creatures that most of them are eggs that you can sacrifice to gain more life. Do I think Dance of the Manse gets banned? Probably not, but that's my crazy prediction. Now I'm going to go off on a tangent of an even bigger prediction because I think Modern's going to get some bans as well, or a ban. I think Wizards finally pulls the trigger on Mox Opal getting banned. And I know a lot of people are screaming or, really angry right now on the other end. But hear me out. I don't think they ban Urza or Emery in Modern. That would look really bad because that will be, and I'll get to it later, the third card from Modern Horizons banned in Modern because we already had Hogak get banned. So I don't think they ban Urza in Modern or even Emery in Modern. I think Mox Opal's the choice because it's already been somewhat of a problem, and Wizards can definitely justify it by saying Mox Amber exists. So there is a bit of a fallback. You don't completely destroy the deck of that, the Wurza decks and whatnot that are out there by, banning Mox Opal. But you also affect a lot of other decks. But unlike Field of the Dead in Standard, you can always slide in a Mox Amber. Not the best choice, makes it a little more fair. And if you're playing Emery Urza, you still have a 0 casting cost mana dork coming out that you can definitely cast turn 1 and use on turn 1 because, land, Emery, Mox Amber, okay, you've done basically the same exact thing as Mox Opal does. So I think that's why that card gets banned instead of Urza, because that would be the third card in Modern Horizons banned that we're going to get to right now. Pauper. That Astral Blade card that came out in Modern Horizons, that's getting banned in Pauper, at least, if not every other format that it's legal in. So if it gets banned in Modern as well, and you ban Urza, you've banned 3 cards from your newest Modern exclusive only set that skips Standard. That's a bad look, because, that would mean Hogak, Urza, and the Astral Blade have been banned since this set came out. The set that Wizards designed specifically for Modern. It's not a good look in my opinion. And I think the Opal banning would be a little bit more appropriate to avoid that issue. Or Wizards just bans Field of the Dead and does nothing else. My predictions are those cards in those formats getting banned. Also, no commander bans because Wizards doesn't control the commander. Basically, it's a bunch of players that come up with the ban and restricted lists for commanders. So I don't think anything gets banned in Commander. Now, why they're not touching Legacy or Vintage is because, Eternal Weekend's coming up, and you don't want to mess too much with Eternal Weekend. You already are by banning possibly Mox Opal. So in Modern, let's not ban cards in Legacy and Vintage because that would really tick a lot of people off. And now we're going to come back to Standard. I know I'm floating all over the place, but I forgot to make a point. A lot of people forget why Field is going to get banned. Also, get rid of your playsets now, if you haven't already. There's a underlying current in Arena. We have to think of Arena. A lot of people that play Arena do not go to FNM. A lot of people that play Arena aren't pros. A lot of people that play Arena aren't looking for high-tier Friday Night Magic or even whatever they call the PPTQ system now or whatever, the Mythic League or Paths or whatever. They're not doing that. Your base clientele is, either people that used to play the game, casually play the game, or people that moved from Hearthstone and other card games to Magic Arena. And these people spend a lot of money to the point that they're getting pissed off and frustrated that anytime they try to play anything standard ranked, you're coming across Field of the Dead, Field of the Dead, Field of the Dead, Field of the Dead, Golos Field of the Dead, Esper Dance of the Mance, Esper Stacks, or whatever. You're running across the same 2 decks that take forever to play. And Arena, especially in the best of ones, is supposed to be quick matches. When you get into traditional ranked, then it's not supposed to be quick matches, but I shouldn't be seeing and hearing from people that timers are almost going off. The 30-minute timers that each player has. The person playing Golos Field of the Dead, a lot of times they'll time out because it takes that long for the deck to get going. And that's not a good look at all, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all. We have to consider the Arena effect. And that is, a lot of casual players have been putting down a lot of money on Arena because it is making Wizards a lot of fucking money, and we have to take that into account. So that's why Field is also getting banned. And the fact that, out of the last couple Pro Tour events or pro events that have happened, Field of the Dead has consisted of more than 60% of the field. So there's that. It's a quick one. It's a short one, I know, but the ban and restricted moving up is a significant thing for Wizards to do. It's not an emergency ban. They're just banning it outright, in the next 2 weeks since they announced it. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be banning a vast majority of these cards. But definitely Field of the Dead gets banned. No questions asked about it. Tell me what you think about the podcast so far. I'm trying to find another co-host or a co-host. Also, tell me what topics you might want me to talk about in the comments below. This is on YouTube only right now just because I'm starting this up again, and it's slow learning to relearn Audacity and to relearn Vegas and to relearn how to do YouTube stuff. I didn't even log into my YouTube account to upload a video in over 2 years. Yeah, I'm getting back into the groove of things. Tell me what you think. Leave a like, leave a dislike if you don't like my voice, if you don't like what I say. I don't give a shit. This is Dahmer for Zero Trade and Value Productions, and may your top deck always be mythic.